Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm Sarah, and today we're diving into a topic that seems to be on everyone's mind lately: artificial intelligence and its impact on jobs. It's hard to go a day without hearing about a new AI development that promises to transform how we work.
And I'm Mike. That's right, Sarah. AI is moving incredibly fast right now, and it's raising big questions about the future of work. Will AI take our jobs? Create new ones, change the way we work? The answers aren't simple, and that's what makes this such a fascinating topic to explore.
When ChatGPT burst onto the scene in late 2022, it seemed like everyone suddenly realized how powerful AI was becoming. Since then, we've seen an explosion of tools that can write, create images, analyze data, and even code software, all tasks that used to require human skills.
I remember when ChatGPT first came out, I spent hours testing what it could do. I was amazed but also a little unsettled, especially when it wrote a decent business proposal in seconds, something that would have taken me hours.
That's exactly the reaction many people have had, both excitement about the possibilities and worry about what it means for their careers. So today, we want to explore the big question: is AI a job destroyer or a job creator? Or is it something more complicated?
And we'll look at who's most affected both positively and negatively, what skills might help people thrive alongside AI, and how we can prepare for a future where AI is an increasingly common part of our working lives.
Let's start with some history. This isn't the first time we've worried about technology taking our jobs, is it?
Not at all. Throughout history, major technological changes have sparked similar concerns. When farm machinery became widespread in the early 1900s, many people worried about massive unemployment among farm workers.
And then during the Industrial Revolution, there were actual riots by textile workers who smashed mechanical looms that threatened their livelihoods, the famous Luddite movement.
More recently, in the 1960s and 70s, there was serious concern that computers and automation would lead to widespread unemployment. A government panel in 1964 warned President Johnson that technology might eliminate jobs faster than it created new ones.
Yet throughout these periods of technological change, total employment has generally continued to grow. Jobs disappeared, but new ones emerged, often jobs that people couldn't even imagine before the technology existed.
Like social media manager, app developer, or drone operator, jobs that would have made no sense to someone from 50 years ago.
That historical perspective is important to keep in mind. But many experts do think AI might be different in important ways from past technological revolutions. Unlike previous technologies that mostly automated physical tasks, AI can handle cognitive tasks, the kind of thinking work that many of us do.
That's what makes this wave feel different. It's not just about machines replacing human muscles, but potentially replacing human judgment, creativity, and decision-making, at least for some types of tasks.
Let's look at some specific jobs and industries where we're already seeing AI's impact. Which areas do you think are feeling the effects most strongly right now?
Customer service has been transformed by AI chatbots. Many companies now use AI to handle basic customer questions, freeing human agents to deal with more complex issues. But this has also meant fewer customer service jobs in some cases.
I've definitely noticed that change. Sometimes I'll be chatting with what I think is a person, only to realize a few messages in that I'm talking to an AI. They've gotten quite convincing.
Content creation is another area seeing huge changes. AI can now write basic news articles, marketing copy, and even create images and videos. Getty Images recently announced that 30% of their new images are now AI-generated.
As someone who has written professionally, that definitely gets my attention. I've experimented with AI writing tools, and while they're not replacing good human writers yet, they can produce decent first drafts or simple content very quickly.
Legal work is being transformed too. AI systems can now review contracts and legal documents much faster than human lawyers. One major law firm reported that work that used to take junior associates 10 hours now takes 2 hours with AI assistance.
Medical diagnosis is another field where AI is making inroads. Some AI systems can now detect certain cancers from medical images with accuracy comparable to human doctors. Though importantly, these systems are mostly being used to assist doctors rather than replace them completely.
And let's not forget manufacturing, where robots and AI have been changing the landscape for decades. Today's smart factories use AI to optimize production lines, predict maintenance needs, and even inspect product quality, all tasks that used to require human workers.
Transportation is on the cusp of major change too. While fully self-driving cars aren't quite ready for prime time, companies like Waymo already operate driverless taxi services in some cities. Long-haul trucking could see significant automation in the coming years.
We should note that not all jobs are equally vulnerable to AI. Research suggests that jobs with predictable, routine tasks are most at risk, while jobs requiring complex social interactions, physical dexterity in unpredictable environments, or specialized expertise are more protected, at least for now.
That's an important point. A factory worker performing the same task repeatedly might be more easily replaced than a childcare worker who needs to respond to the unpredictable needs of children, or a plumber who works in different home environments every day.
Though even in fields like childcare or plumbing, AI might not replace the job entirely but could automate certain aspects. A plumber might use AI to diagnose problems or order parts, even if the physical work still requires human hands.
I've been thinking about who benefits and who loses from these changes. In many cases, it seems like AI might benefit those who already have advantages, people with higher education, technical skills, and access to the latest technology.
That's a real concern. There's potential for AI to widen existing inequalities if we're not careful. People with less education or who work in more routine jobs might face more displacement, while those who know how to use AI tools effectively could see their productivity and earnings increase.
I spoke with Dr. Joanna Chen, who studies technology and labor markets. She told me, there's a real risk of a winner-take-all dynamic with AI, where those who own the technology or have the skills to leverage it capture most of the benefits, while others are left behind.
That reminds me of what happened with globalization in recent decades. Overall, it created economic growth, but the benefits weren't evenly distributed. Some communities saw factories close and jobs disappear, while others thrived in the new economy.
Though we should also talk about the potential benefits of AI for workers. In some cases, AI is handling the boring, repetitive parts of jobs, leaving humans to focus on more interesting and creative work.
I interviewed a radiologist who told me that AI helps screen normal X-rays, allowing her to spend more time on complex cases and talking with patients the parts of her job she finds most meaningful.
And there are entirely new jobs being created because of AI. AI systems need people to develop them, train them, evaluate them, and ensure they're being used ethically and responsibly.
Right, job titles like prompt engineer, AI ethics consultant, and machine learning operations specialist didn't exist a few years ago. Now they're some of the fastest growing roles in tech companies.
Though it's worth asking whether these new jobs will be as numerous as the ones that might be automated. Historically, new technologies have eventually created more jobs than they eliminated, but the transition period can be painful for those whose skills no longer match what the market needs.
And the time frame matters too. If changes happen gradually, people have time to retrain and adapt. But if AI advances cause rapid displacement in certain industries, many workers could struggle to find new roles quickly enough.
Let's talk more about that adaptation process. What are the skills that might help people thrive alongside AI rather than be replaced by it?
Creative thinking is certainly near the top of the list. While AI can now generate creative content, humans still excel at truly original thinking and innovation. People who can come up with novel ideas and approaches will likely remain valuable.
Emotional intelligence is another key area where humans still outperform AI. Understanding others' emotions, building relationships, managing conflicts, showing empathy. These social skills are incredibly difficult for machines to replicate.
Complex problem solving, especially in unpredictable environments, remains a human strength. AI works well with clear rules and lots of data, but struggles with novel situations or problems that require making judgment calls based on limited information.
Critical thinking is more important than ever. As AI generates more content and recommendations, we need humans who can evaluate that output, identify potential biases or errors, and make thoughtful decisions about when to rely on AI and when not to.
And perhaps most importantly, adaptability itself is becoming a crucial skill. The people who will thrive are those who can continuously learn, unlearn, and relearn as technology and job requirements evolve.
I think that's right. The shelf life of specific technical skills is getting shorter as technology changes faster. The ability to keep learning throughout your career might be more valuable than any particular skill set you start with.
Let's talk about education and training. How should our schools and colleges be preparing people for this AI-influenced future?
That's a huge question. Our educational system was largely designed for an industrial economy, with standardized testing focused on memorization and following procedures, exactly the kinds of tasks AI does well.
Now we need education that emphasizes the uniquely human skills we just mentioned: creativity, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and adaptability. But these are harder to teach and assess than factual knowledge.
And we need to reimagine continuing education too. The old model of learn until 22, then work until 65, doesn't make sense anymore. People will need to keep learning throughout their careers as technology evolves.
Companies have a role to play here too. Forward-thinking businesses are investing in retraining their existing workforce rather than simply replacing people whose skills have become outdated.
I was impressed by what Amazon is doing. They pledged $1.2 billion to provide free technical training to 300,000 of their employees for in-demand fields, even if those new skills might lead workers to jobs outside Amazon.
That kind of investment makes business sense too. Hiring and training new people is expensive, so helping current employees adapt to new roles can be more cost-effective than constant turnover.
Government policies will be really important too. Some countries are being more proactive than others in preparing for AI-related job transitions.
Singapore is often cited as a leader here. Their Skills Future program provides every citizen with a credit they can use for approved courses and training programs, plus additional support for mid-career workers in industries facing disruption.
Denmark's flexicurity system is another interesting model. It combines flexible hiring and firing rules with strong unemployment benefits and robust retraining programs. This helps workers navigate transitions between jobs more smoothly.
In the US, our approach has been more patchwork. Some community colleges have created excellent retraining programs, but access is uneven, and many displaced workers struggle to afford education while supporting themselves and their families.
I think we need to have honest conversations about the social safety net too. If AI enables our economy to produce more with fewer human work hours, how do we ensure that everyone can meet their basic needs during transitions, or if traditional employment becomes less available?
Some have proposed ideas like universal basic income or expanded earned income tax credits. Others suggest shorter work weeks, allowing more people to share the available work. These are complex policy questions without easy answers.
And different communities will face different challenges. Urban areas with diverse economies and lots of high-skilled jobs might adapt more easily than rural areas or smaller cities dependent on a few large employers.
I visited a town in the Midwest where the main employer was a call center with 500 jobs. The company has started using AI chatbots and has reduced staffing by 30% already, with more cuts planned. In a small community, that kind of change can have devastating ripple effects.
That's why we need approaches tailored to local conditions, not one-size-fits-all solutions. Places facing more disruption might need additional support for community college programs, small business development, or infrastructure that makes remote work possible.
Let's zoom out and consider some broader perspectives. How do different countries or regions view AI and its impact on jobs?
There are definitely cultural and political differences in how societies approach these questions. The US tends to emphasize innovation and market-driven adaptation, with less government intervention in how technology develops.
The European Union has taken a more regulatory approach, with the AI Act establishing rules for how AI can be used in various contexts, including employment. They're trying to shape AI development according to European values.
China has its own strategy, with massive government investment in AI development and applications. They've positioned AI as a national priority in their competition with the US for technological leadership.
And countries with younger populations, like India or Nigeria, face different challenges than aging societies like Japan or Italy. Younger countries need to create huge numbers of new jobs for their growing workforces, while aging countries might actually welcome automation to compensate for shrinking workforces.
Those different contexts will likely lead to different approaches. There's no single, right, way to manage this transition that works for every society.
As we think about the future, there's also this philosophical question about the purpose of work itself. If AI can handle more of our necessary tasks, what does that mean for how we spend our time and find meaning?
Throughout human history, most people have had to work primarily to survive. But if AI creates enough abundance, could we move toward a world where more people work by choice rather than necessity, focusing on what they find meaningful?
Some economists and philosophers talk about a potential post-work future. Not a future without any work, but one where traditional employment takes up less of our lives, and we have more time for other pursuits, caring for family, community involvement, creative expression, learning.
Though we should acknowledge that work provides more than just income for many people. It gives structure to our days, social connections, a sense of identity and purpose. If traditional jobs become less central, we'll need other ways to meet these human needs.
And there's the question of who benefits from increased productivity. If AI helps companies produce more with fewer workers, do those gains flow primarily to shareholders and executives, or are they shared more broadly?
That gets back to policy choices. In past technological revolutions, the benefits were eventually widely shared, but often only after significant social and political changes like the labor movement, progressive taxation, and expanded education.
As we start to wrap up our discussion, what advice would we give to people who are concerned about AI's impact on their own jobs or careers?
First, I'd suggest staying informed but not panicking. While AI is advancing quickly, most jobs will change rather than disappear entirely. Understanding how AI might affect your specific field helps you prepare proactively.
Second, focus on developing those distinctly human skills we talked about earlier: creativity, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving, and adaptability. These will remain valuable even as specific technical skills evolve.
Third, look for ways to use AI as a tool that enhances your work, rather than seeing it only as a potential replacement. The people who thrive will be those who learn to collaborate effectively with AI systems.
Fourth, consider your unique advantages as a human. Maybe it's your personal relationships with clients, your contextual understanding of your organization's culture, or your ability to connect seemingly unrelated ideas. Lean into these strengths.
And finally, be willing to keep learning throughout your career. Set aside time regularly to explore new tools and approaches in your field. The world of work is changing more rapidly than ever before, and continuous learning is the best insurance policy.
For parents, I'd add, encourage your children to develop a broad range of skills rather than specializing too narrowly too early. The specific jobs that will exist when today's young children enter the workforce are impossible to predict.
That's great advice. At the societal level, I hope we can approach these changes thoughtfully, with policies that help share the benefits widely while supporting those who face disruption.
Me too, history shows that technological progress ultimately improves living standards, but the transition periods can be difficult. How we manage this transition will determine whether AI's benefits are broadly shared or concentrated among a lucky few.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. The impact of AI on jobs is clearly a complex topic with no simple answers. It involves technology, economics, politics, psychology, and even philosophy.
And it's a story that's still being written. The choices we make as individuals, organizations, and societies will shape how this technology affects our working lives in the years ahead.
Thank you for joining us for this exploration of AI and the future of work. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with AI in your own workplace. You can share them on our social media channels or website.
Next week, we'll be tackling another fascinating topic at the intersection of technology and society. Until then, I'm Mike.
And I'm Sarah. Thanks for listening.